All right. Well, good evening, scholars. We got a slim group today, but it's okay. It's okay. We got the best of the best, cream of the crop. Let's go. I'm excited to have you guys here once again for this HNT series. This is our summer series, Hospitality and Travel for SOAR 2024. Excited as always to be here. I am your chef, Andre Blasingame. I'm also a co-coordinator with Chastity Kennedy. She's unavailable this evening, or she may chime in a little bit later. Normally, she handles the admin and the Zoom things, but I'll be filling in for her today. And so excited to have you two here. Hopefully, everybody is chiming in, maybe late coming to class. So definitely excited. So we have a wonderful class tonight. We're going to talk about restaurant and careers. The last couple of classes we've been talking about lodging and careers, hotels and careers, hospitality and careers. Everything's been hospitality geared. Now we're going to shift a little bit into the restaurant aspect. And so your instructor tonight, Chef Baker, is a well decorated pastry chef and chef and teacher here in the great state of Texas. She has, been able to back to back to back put great teams together that win national championship competitions for restaurant management. I've been fortunate to coach with this woman. I want to say 5 years now. So I think the first year I didn't coach with her. I just coached with Chef David, but I got a chance to coach with her for 5 years, and she's produced two first place national championships for restaurant management, a second place, and last year was a 10th place. So the pedigree of the knowledge you're about to get about restaurant management and the background is definitely there. Plus, all of her years in the industry, all of her years as an instructor. So you're in for an incredible treat this evening. In addition to that, you guys always know, the policies here. Have your camera on, make sure that you're engaged, make sure that you're learning, and make sure that you are available, talking, and excuse me, giving some feedback. We do this class every Tuesday and Thursday, 6:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Myself is in the Central, so it's 5:30. But with that being said, one last thing. We will not have class on Thursday. It's July 4th. It's an Independence Day uh for America. So we won't have class. We'll resume class again on January 9th. And I want both you ladies to that are still on call, think about what your final project's going to be. The cooking class is on the 9th, so you might get a better understanding. So you can pick between the two that you guys want to do. But you'll have that opportunity. And with the restaurant and careers, it's also going to help you with planning your itinerary if you choose to plan the itinerary out on places you're going to go to eat, where you're going to dine, resorts you're going to stay out, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So without further ado, you guys see me every Tuesday and Thursday. I'm gonna turn it over to my great friend, incredible chef, Chef Baker.
Oh, thank you, Chef Andre. Well, hello, everyone. Yes, like he said, it has been a pleasure working with him over the last 5 years. But I have to say that all of the success goes back to the student. It's their hard work, it's their perseverance, it's their diligence, and their commitment to the industry and operating in a place of excellence. So I'm just a facilitator in that realm. I'm there to kind of guide and create those boundaries in order for them to still be creative in the many things that they do when it comes to creating those different types of concepts and restaurants and things like that. But at the end of the day, it is fulfilling to see them make the platform. So again, hello and welcome. I am Chef Baker, as he said. I always like to start my classes each and every day with just a simple statement or tagline, if you will. Welcome back to another day of the sweet life. Some of you all may be familiar with Zach and Cody. Yes. Yes. Okay, good. Yeah, so when my daughter was growing up, that was probably one of my favorite shows on TV to watch, but it was just for the mere fact that they were on a cruise ship and they were having fun. But that tagline really plays into how my perception of life is, right? It's really all about how you make it. And if you have mindset that, today is going to be everything that I want it to be. As long as you have that positive outlook and you're looking forward to each and every day being the greatest day that you could make it, why not? It should be a sweet day, right? So hello and welcome back to another day of the Sweet Life. Just to kind of give you guys a little bit background on me, a little bit of what Chef Andre has already said. I've been teaching in the classroom for about 8 years total, competing and all that type of thing. But I'm a baker at heart, and I love to bake. I love to be organized in that respect. So baking just lines up with my personality, if you will. And so I like things to be structured. I like things to be in order. If there's an A, I feel like there needs to be a B. If there's a 1, there needs to be a 2. However, at the same time, I've come to learn in my years of living that everything doesn't always line up that way. And so you have to be flexible. That is much of what the restaurant and food service industry is. At the end of the day, my whole purpose is to make sure that my guest has been served and that they're pleased with whatever product that I'm providing them, and that the experience that they have is one that they would want to run and tell someone else about in order to share that same experience with someone else, and have them come back into my restaurant or have them come back and purchase a product of mine. Word of mouth is one of the things that moves product in the industry today. A lot of the times it's through social media. People will leave their reviews and their remarks and things like that on social media. And they'll say either they liked the product or the restaurant, or they didn't like the product or the restaurant. And the one that moves the fastest is the negative word that people will share. And so what I like to do is present a product or present an experience in such a way that that the positive word is the one that moves faster than the negative word. So I'm going to turn it over to you all so you all can share a little bit with me about who you are and why you chose this program and what you would like to get out of tonight's class. There's a lot of information. I hope not to overwhelm you with all of the information, but I do want it to be a dialogue to where we can talk about it. You guys can ask me questions. If I'm going at too fast of a pace, please let me know, like, Chef, okay, slow down. Can you repeat that? That type of thing. But I do want us to be able to dialogue tonight and not just you guys sit and get, right? Because that could be a bit overwhelming with information. And so we'll start with, is it Shania?
Hi.
Hi. So Shania, can you tell me what it is that you found interesting about the food service and restaurant industry, and what it is that you plan to get, or what your expectation is, or what your hope is to get out of the class tonight?
I like cooking and making food, so I want to learn more about the hospitality aspect and having good service.
Okay. And I'm just writing these things down. Okay. And Shania, if you don't mind sharing with me, what is, since you say you like to cook and you like food, what is the one thing that you enjoy cooking the most?
I don't know. I really can't say what it is because I haven't had that much experience cooking. So
Okay.
I
Okay.
really don't know.
Oh, all right. How about your favorite food? What is the one thing you like to eat? If you could eat it every day, what thing would you eat?
I've eaten a lot of stuff, so I can't say what.
Okay. All right. That's fair. All right. Megan, how about you? Why did you choose this program, and what are you looking to get out of tonight's class?
I'm gonna be completely honest. I didn't know what this class would have been about.
Okay.
I was kind of excited to see like what hospitality was because at my college, I have a bunch of friends in hospitality, like they like learning about hospitality and getting careers in that. And I
Okay.
have a bunch of friends also in baking and pastry too.
Okay.
And it's just really cool to see them bring back a bunch of stuff that they make, and they have like labs where they can just make whatever they want, or follow a recipe and do stuff like that, which is really cool.
Okay.
I like how this class is very much like it's not just hospitality; it's also cooking and it's stuff like that too, which I didn't know, which is really cool.
Right.
Back at home, well, I'm home, so at home, I help my mom make dinner all the time. Like during Christmas or Thanksgiving, I help like mom cook, or like I like make banana bread. Like that's like
Mhm.
my family thing is I
Oh,
make the
yeah.
banana bread.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just excited to learn new ways to make stuff and make food and bake.
Awesome. So you say you're in college already.
Yeah, I just finished my first year in college.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Woo-hoo. Get that freshman year under your belt, right?
Mhm.
I hear you with that. So are you going to traditional university or are you going to culinary school?
Um, I originally went to the school for biology,
Okay.
but I didn't know that there were so many other majors in my school that have hospitality and cooking and baking, which
Right.
is really cool. This is really, really cool.
Okay. All right. That's fair. So I will share with you all tonight from the perspective of restaurant management or restaurant operations and careers. I won't dive a whole lot on baking and pastry because I think you guys are gonna have that section coming later, much later in your program. But one thing that I do, the one thing I want to start off with is to kind of help get us in the mindset of where we're going with the class tonight. If you could, for me, for just a minute, think about one restaurant that you've gone to, that you've dined in, right? That you've actually gone into the restaurant and you've sat down and you've experienced this full service. Full service meaning that there was a host, there was a server, there was possibly a busser. Your food was made in the back and they brought it to your table. And then you ate your food and you paid at the end of eating. Okay. Think of that restaurant and tell me if it was a great experience for you, why? And if it was not a great experience for you, why not? Okay. Think of that for just a minute. For a dine-in service restaurant that you had full service. If that experience was a good one, and tell me why it was a good one. And then if it was a bad experience, why that was a bad experience. Okay. And so if you have that one in mind, then I'll let you go ahead and either of you can share out. It doesn't matter to me, whomever wants to go first.
I can go first.
Okay.
So I think yeah, it was yesterday. Me and my mom and dad went out to this Thai restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a really good experience. I feel like there was one little bump, but everything else was pretty good. I felt like it was good because the host was very clear with what we needed to have. Like we need to have a whole party with us in order to get us table first.
Okay.
And then there was I don't know like the person that brought us to our table.
Mm-hmm.
They were nice. And then we had really good servers. They're really nice, and like they had high energy, even though it was still like 7 o'clock at night. It was pretty much high energy. Only
Okay.
bump I would say is that they brought us someone else's food.
Oh.
And we tried it because we didn't know what it was because we've never been there before, so we just tried it, and we were like, I don't think we ordered this, and then we told them, and they're like, oh, that's the table behind you.
Mm.
Sorry. Yeah. But everything else
Okay.
was really good. The food was really good too. It was nice. It was hot. It tasted good. It was like Thai flavor, so it was like sticking to the actual restaurant. So I thought that was really good.
Okay, so your food, the food that you actually wanted, did they ever bring that out to you?
Yes, they did. They brought everything else. It's just that one thing that wasn't ours. But yeah,
Okay.
everything else was ours. It was really good. Yeah, and I definitely think we're gonna go back.
Oh, good. Okay. So with the problem, did the server address and correct the problem, or did the server call in a manager to address and correct the problem?
So with the restaurant, there was the inside and there was like another section outside of the restaurant where there was like a box or something that they had built on the street for
Okay.
the restaurant, like it was like a separate thing. So
Mhm.
we just called the server that brought us the food and we were like, I don't think this is ours, and then they fixed it.
Okay. Okay. All
Mhm.
right. Good. Good. Okay. That tells me a lot about the management style of the restaurant. So I'm glad that the server was actually able to correct the problem. Because in some instances, if the server is addressed and told that there was an issue with their food or whatever the case may be, most time they'll push that command up to a manager, and the manager usually handle the situation. But it looks
Mm.
like the management style allows the servers the opportunity to be able to make that corrective action. So that's good to hear.
Mhm.
All right. Shania, have you had experience like that before, or dined in and had a good
Yeah.
or bad experience?
Um, um, I don't remember the last time I dined at this restaurant, but I know it was a big franchise, like a restaurant chain.
Mhm.
It's called Red Lobster, if you've been there before.
Yes.
And when I did dine there, I don't remember when it was, but it was quite nice, and the people who worked there were very nice, and they were kind people. It was just fun. The food was really tasty. The
Okay.
only reason I came there was because of the biscuits.
Oh yeah, the cheddar biscuits. Gotta have those for sure.
Yeah, those biscuits were good. They were addicting.
Good deal. Good deal. So, from your experience, I could tell that it was the service, the people were really nice, and the food. And with that, would you go back to Red Lobster again?
Yes,
Okay.
I'd love to.
Okay, good. So what we've established here, ladies, is that when we go inside these restaurants, it's not always just about the food that'll make us go back, right? It's about the experience, the interaction, the communication that we've had with everyone at the restaurant, because it's the responsibility of everyone at the restaurant in order to make our experience a great experience, one that will keep us coming back. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen, and we're just gonna dive into my PowerPoint here. Hopefully, if I can get it. Nope, there we go. That's it. Okay. All right. So again, restaurant operations and careers, we'll talk about this from the perspective of what happens inside the restaurant. And lastly, if this is something that you want to do, hopefully I will share enough information that will kind of spark an interest in you to where you'd be interested in starting a career in this particular industry. We've already gone through some of the get to know yous. Hello, I am, and I shared myself with you all, and you all shared yourself with me. And so now we'll walk through welcome to the industry. We'll look at some industry opportunities, professional expectations that are necessary not only for the food service and restaurant industry, but just any profession across the board. And then lastly, we'll look at taking a look at how you can begin your career or even if you're not starting your career, how you can look into getting enrolled into a college, university, or into a trade school that is industry based, or if it's not the food service and service industry that you're interested in, these tools still can apply to other industries as well. So we've already talked about your icebreaker, what's your first favorite dine-in restaurant and why you would eat there. Some things that you all pointed out to me definitely helped me understand that, yes, the industry is still operating the way that it was formerly intended, and that is to keep people coming back, okay? So in our world of food service, in the world of restaurants and the industry, there are two segments that make up the food service and restaurant industry. There are types of businesses that also make up the hospitality and tourism industry. Okay, so we're going to separate, we're going to pull out, we're going to look at the umbrella because it is a very, very broad, wide spectrum of an industry to where it's not just about cooking. It's not just about being on a line, you know, serving French fries. It's not just about being in the front of the house to where you have to be a server or a host or even a manager. This industry is huge. And as you move through your program, you're going to be able to see, oh wow, because you probably already talked about hotels and I mean, we're going to get into a little bit of all of that, but hopefully by the end of your program, you'll be able to see that it is a very, very lucrative, very fast moving, very fast paced industry that one can be a part of. And so lastly, again, how can I be a part of this lovely industry? So the food service and restaurant industry is made up of two segments, okay? It's broken up into commercial and non-commercial. The non-commercial segment is the part of the food service and restaurant industry that serves food but is in support of another function, okay? So what that looks like is, say for instance, your school had to be your junior high school, your middle school, your elementary school, your universities, whatnot. There's food being served at your school. Would you agree? The food being served at your school is not for primary profit. So when you go and you eat in the cafeteria, or you go and you eat at the dining hall, or you go and you eat at the snack bar, the school is not serving that food to you in order to make a profit. Okay, so they're working in conjunction with the school, with with your school independent district or what have you, in order to provide that food service for you as a student. This also looks the same when we talk about healthcare facilities. Those are your nursing homes. Those are your assisted living. Those are your hospitals, right? So anytime you go into these places, you'll see that they're serving food there as well. But it's not so that they can make a profit. It's not the primary source of them to serve the food. Businesses and industries, health clubs. You've probably been to a gym and you saw they probably had a fitness food area, or maybe a vending machine or something like that, where you can buy snacks or protein bars and different things like shakes and things like that. Also, the government side of the non-commercial segment is your military, your jails, your prisons, different places like that. All of these places provide food, but it's not for retail. It's not so that they can make a profit. So out of the two segments that the food service and restaurant industry makes up, there's only 20% of those segments. The other 80% are the ones that are in business to make money. So my primary purpose is to sell you food so I can make money, okay? And again, those are your restaurants. Caterings, right? Everybody does catering now. Think about the different types of door dashes where you can order food online through an app, right? Had it be McDonald's, had it be Red Lobster even. You can order your food through them, and their primary purpose is to get the food directly to you because I'm trying to make money. Banquets, right? Banquets is a form of catering, but banquets are hosted and held at a particular location, whereas catering, there doesn't necessarily have to be a location. I'm just going to provide the food to you to whatever location you desire. But again, I'm providing food to you as a sole purpose of serving the food. You got retail stores, your 7-Elevens, your corner stores, your let's see. Oh, the different types of retail stores that are in a strip mall. Okay, it could be Sprinkles cupcakes, it could be Crumble cookie, it could be just trying to think of all the little mini retail places that are brick and mortar that would actually come into establishment in order for them to provide you food for retail service. Okay, you got your stadiums. Been to a ballpark lately? Football game, basketball game, soccer game. They all have some form of concession stand. Would you agree? Or there's even some like little kiosk that's sitting right in the middle of the stadium, to where you can go up and you can buy Auntie Anne's pretzels, or maybe you want a Starbucks kiosk and it's sitting there. Or they may have a concession stand that's selling hot dogs, hamburgers, you know, nachos, those types of things. Those are all a part of that 80% that make up the commercial industry. Have you ladies ever been on a cruise? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we were actually talking about this last class. I think we went on the same cruise like together, just like
Oh,
not knowing
Yeah.
who we were.
wow. Yeah, so on that cruise ship, you probably saw some of those things that I just mentioned, a retail store that was selling food, right? You
Yeah.
probably saw some type of kiosk in the middle of the ship that where you could go and you could get pizza, or you can get hamburgers late night, or you can get French fries late night.
Right.
But also one of the big attractions for a cruise ship and cruisers is so everyone can dine in the dining room, where you get to dress up all nice and pretty and everything,
Yeah,
and they serve you all these
or the
different courses.
or they
yeah,
might have a deli there too.
They did, yep.
yeah. Or like a
Yeah.
buffet. There's also like really big buffet, like
Mhm.
on the same like
Yeah.
floor as the pool.
Absolutely, right? So just imagine how many times they have to turn over the food on those cruise ships, and who's back there preparing all of that food for all the people who are on the ship. That is their primary purpose, and that is to provide food to you as the cruiser. Have you ever thought about airlines, airports,
Oh,
or
like
the
the
airplanes?
little the airports too. Okay, I didn't
So
think about that.
yeah, in the airport, you have different places, different restaurants that are inside the restaurant, I mean, inside the airport,
Mm.
that will provide food as well. Have you ever thought about the food that gets on the airplane when they're serving snacks and beverages?
Like the carts with the flight attendants.
Yeah, so when they're coming around and they're passing out snacks, you know, and you get
Oh,
either pretzels or you get to select a soda on your
Or
flight,
water.
that's all part of catering that's within the commercial segment of the industry. So it's really interesting. And if you've never seen how they get the food on the airplane, it's really cool because they load them all up in these like tall cages, if you will, and they push them up a ramp, and then they store them in these boxes in the back of the airplane. And so everything's already organized, you know, had it be sodas or wine or what have you, chips and different things like that. And if you've ever been on a flight that has, I guess, maybe 6 or plus hours, they
Oh,
have
like
full-on
those like
food.
dinners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So So now that you see that the industry is very big, it's just not concentrated in the area of you cooking, but it expands because people, as long as there are people, there's going to be a demand for food. And as long as there's going to be a demand for food, there's always going to be the innovation of creating new dishes, creating new ways for people to get food, from the whole farming aspect all the way down to the plate. So any questions about the two segments of the food and service restaurant industry before we move on? All right, so we got two segments, non-commercial and commercial. One is for retail, making a profit, the other is not. And it should be, if you can figure out the commercial side, okay, I know all restaurants, all caterings, retails, I know all those people are just making money off of serving the food, whereas the other entities are not. That should help you be able to differentiate between the two. So the travel and tourism industry basically is an umbrella that covers hospitality, food service, lodging, event management. All of these things fit under the title of travel and tourism. And so what we're going to focus more so on today in this class is going to be the restaurant. So when we think about hospitality and what that means, it's basically all the things that people will pay for when they're away from home. So if I'm at home, I have full access to my bed, I have full access to my refrigerator, I have full access to my car, I have full access to, you know, to my house in general. I have full access to my pool outside. But if I leave home, then those are some things that I'm going to want and I'm going to need that I'm going to be willing to pay for. So when we talk about hospitality, it's those things that I'm going to pay for when I leave home because out of necessity, or it could be leisure, or it could be pleasure, right? But I'm going to pay for those things. When we talk about hospitality on the other side, meaning that I am seeking an experience. So I'm going to pay for these things away from home, but my expectation is that I'm going to get a certain type of service. Okay. So when we think about food service, lodging, event management, what other things, what other services will people pay for when they're traveling? Or had to be, like I said, for leisure or business? What are some other things people will pay for? So we know that they'll pay for their food at a restaurant. We know that people will pay for hotel rooms, right? Or even going to a resort. We know that if we go to a football game, we're going to have to pay for our food there at the concession stand or maybe at the kiosk. What else will we pay for?
How about like babysitting?
Childcare. That's a good one.
Or working at a daycare.
Okay, that's about the same. So working at a daycare. So if I go out, and I have a family of say 4, so my husband and I want to take the night out, but we need someone to watch our children. So yeah, child care would be one of the things that we would need. How about
All right, guys, give it one moment. I think Chef Baker actually logged off, probably trying to close her screen. You guys enjoying the class so far?
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. You get a different aspect when you break down hospitality and travel, you know, coming from being in the industry, because a lot of times people think it's all, it's all one thing when you look at hospitality and travel, but restaurants is a different aspect, hotels, motels, resorts, even though they're similar functions and a lot of them do a lot of the same things, they're all different aspects, and we haven't even talked about some of the ones that are behind the scenes for people that's in, like restaurant, travel and tourism, and hotel that don't actually service customers. People like accountants, that does the
They deal with the money,
correct, and they
like the
may
financial
never see.
aspect, right?
Correct. And they may never see a client, may never change a bed, may never, look at any hotel sheets, maybe never even sometimes some of the CPAs don't even really eat at these restaurants, even though they take care of
Everything
the
that they need.
books, right?
Yeah.
It happens sometimes. So it's interesting. Hold on 1 second. Let me see what happened. So yeah. So I think what we're going to do is I'm gonna give you guys an early break. So if you guys are okay with that, or maybe I'll give you two today. I'll give you about a 10-minute break because we're having the technical difficulties with Chef Baker. So I'm gonna need to pull her slideshow up so we can continue class. So we'll take a quick 10-minute break, ladies. Y'all go get you something to drink, bring me back some watermelon, Megan. You know how it goes. And,
Very funny.
and we'll and we'll come back here at about 6:22 or 7:22.
Okay.
Okay.
All righty. Excellent, excellent. All right, we are back. 6:22. Chef Baker, you got your share screen ready?
I am ready.
All righty. Whenever you're ready, take it away, ma'am. And
Thank
this
you,
is
sir.
gonna be, let's see. Oh yeah, you can go straight through now. We'll be done when you're done.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. All right, I think, uh-oh. There we go. Yay. All right, ladies, I do apologize for that. That was,
That's okay. Mistakes happen. Everybody messes up sometimes.
thank
That's
you,
no
dear.
big deal.
That
Right,
means a whole
especially
lot
with
to me.
technology.
It's fine. We all mess up sometimes. No big deal. Don't worry about it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That encouragement helps a whole lot. Thank you, dear.
You're welcome.
As I was saying, one of the things that because we were talking about what are some things that we're willing to pay for when we're away from home as far as a service is concerned. And you all mentioned childcare, but we'll definitely pay for transportation. Had it be to get an Uber, had it be to rent a car, right? All of these things we're gonna need when we're away from home if we don't take our own vehicle, of course. We'll pay for amusement, right? We'll pay for entertainment. Maybe we go out to the movies while we're on vacation. Maybe we go to a theme park like Disney Orlando, or maybe to the Hershey factory in Pennsylvania. I'm a huge Reese's peanut butter cup fan, so I just threw that out there. But yeah, we'll definitely pay for these things when we're away from home with the expectation that we are going to receive a good service or a great service with that experience. So I do want to move forward. Now I'm going to show you a video on the history of the restaurant. So where did this whole restaurant thing come from? How did we even get to restaurants? we already know people love going to restaurants because they love to go and eat, right? People love to eat. People love to go to restaurants to share with their friends and family. Anytime there's a celebration, someone's always like, well, where are we going to eat? Or I want to go here for my birthday, or I want to go here for my anniversary, or I want to go here to celebrate graduation or what have you. We're always going to celebrate around food, and that's across cultures. It doesn't matter. People love to celebrate and commune around food. So I'm going to share with you this short video. It's about 5 minutes, but it's going to tell us how we even got to the point of the restaurants. All right. And then once we're done, we'll come back together and we'll talk about it. All right. Y'all ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Let's see if we can get it to play. Okay. Let me get out of it. Let's see. Oh, is it playing?
No, it's not.
No, it's still on the screen. Did you click the button?
I did.
Is it playing on your end?
No.
Interesting.
Okay. Let me get out of it and then I'll try and stop sharing the screen. Go back. Okay.
So, I'm sure most everyone has eaten at a restaurant before. Of course, the concept of buying
Oh, did it stop?
It did.
Okay, well, we're gonna try this again. There we go. Is that better?
Yep.
Yep,
So,
better now.
I'm sure most everyone has eaten at a restaurant before. Of course, the concept of buying prepared food isn't entirely new. The idea of selling food for profit existed even during the earliest of civilizations. It's really no coincidence that the growth of restaurants throughout history correlates closely with the growth of cities. The need for public eateries was firmly established as far back as the Roman Empire and even ancient China, when peasants and farmers brought their livestock and other goods to urban markets. Often they traveled for several days at a time and needed a place to eat and rest. This brought about the earliest form of restaurants, the roadside inn. Usually located in the middle of the countryside, inns served meals at a common table to travelers. There were no menus or even options from which to choose. Every night you got what you got, and that was it.
It doesn't matter what you think!
Within city walls, where living conditions were cramped and many people did not have the means to cook their own meals, vendors sold food from small carts or street kitchens, which is still a popular form in many parts of the world. Think of the hot dog stand in New York City, like the one that Spider-Man likes to frequent. The meals they sold were usually pre-cooked and affordable, a forerunner to the modern fast food industry. These early inns and taverns were more than just a place to eat, however. They served an important social function by bringing people of different backgrounds together. Through the Middle Ages and into the Renaissance, taverns and inns continued to be a main place to buy a prepared meal in Europe. In Spain, these establishments were called bodegas, which served small savory Spanish dishes called tapas. In England, foods such as sausage and shepherd's pie were popular, while in France, stews and soups were almost always offered. All of these early restaurants had one thing in common, that they served simple foods commonly found in peasant and merchant homes. Following Columbus's voyage to the Americas in 1492, global trade increased, introducing new foods to Europe. Coffee, tea, and chocolate were soon being served in public houses alongside beer, ale, and wine. By the 17th century, while full meals were still typically eaten at home, upper and upper middle class folks would sometimes hire a caterer or take their meals to a private salon of a public house, rather than eat in the main dining room. In France, throughout the Middle Ages, guilds had monopolies on many aspects of prepared food. For example, charcutiers, a word that comes from char, meaning meat, and cuit, meaning cooked, were the guild who prepared cooked meats for sale. If you did not belong to that particular guild, it was illegal to sell cooked meat in any form. And so, relating to this, there is an oft-repeated historical anecdote crediting the first restaurant in Paris to a man named Boulanger, who in 1765 went up against the powerful medieval catering guilds. The story goes that Boulanger added cooked lamb to a stew he sold in his shop near the Louvre. The Caterers Guild sued him, but Boulanger won the case.
What? Oh. There we go.
Over the next 20 years leading up to the French Revolution, more shops like Boulanger's began operating in Paris. When Marie Antoinette and Louis XVI went to the guillotine, the old ways of French society went with them. The guilds were swept away, and many chefs employed in aristocratic and royal households found themselves unemployed. Many of these displaced workers opened up dining businesses in Paris, bringing with them a new way of dining. It has long been accepted that the first establishments that we would consider restaurants originated in Paris in the mid-18th century. The word restaurant is a French word that originally referred to a type of restorative meat broth or bouillon, created by steaming various types of meat. Such a broth was offered to those who might be too weak to eat a full meal. The institutions in which these restaurants were served had costly and luxurious interiors and appealed to a wealthy clientele. They were a pretty far cry from the unsavory taverns and inns that typically provided food to travelers. Concepts such as seating patrons at their own tables, providing dining at unspecified hours, and a menu from which diners could choose their own dishes came out of these institutions and became an established part of restaurant service. Though public houses continued to exist, the rise of fine dining in France would soon spread throughout Europe and into the New World. One should know that public gatherings over food and drink have long been a part of human society, as they offer a place for people to come together for a meal and to socialize with others. And this isn't the end of the restaurant story though. Watch out for part 2 of this video coming soon, where we'll discuss the modernization of restaurants in Europe, Asia, and the...
All right. We're going to stop it right there. And I'm going to ask you ladies, was there anything in that video that stood out to you?
What stood out to me is that the first few restaurants started in Paris, France, in like the kind of restaurants that people had in other parts of the world, like in Spain, like the bodegas. Like I've heard of that before.
Okay. Good. How about you, Megan?
Yeah, I was gonna say how in New York City we have like the corner stores or the delis, like people call them bodegas,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't know that it started. I didn't know where it started, so it was cool to see that it started there. Um, I actually like the fact the idea of a restaurant started as like a not like a rebellion, but kind of like a rebellion to like the guild, which is really cool.
Yeah. So and if you think about it, pretty much everything that we have in our culture today started from a necessity, either because of the lack of, or because there was a rise of trying to keep people from doing something. At the end of the day, it all goes back to feeding the need. People needed to be fed. People were looking to be fed with entertainment. People started to travel a little bit more, and so they needed to still have food along the routes. But what was interesting to me that I learned with this video was that if you didn't get to an inn by a certain time, then you probably didn't have a bed to sleep in, and you didn't get fed. So you probably left in this room with a bunch of people who are scrounging, trying to find room and board, if you will, a place to sleep. And so they were sleeping on the floor, and they would just have that night to be able to sleep because they were asked to get up and continue on their travel the next day. One thing that I'll share with you, and Megan, since you mentioned that you're from the New York area, is Delmonico's and the Astor's house were huge, huge, huge inventions from the restaurants in Paris and France that surfaced in the Americas. And they were really focused on creating this experience for people to dress up and get all dolled up and that type of thing and come out and eat with their friends. And so it was an environment that was, I mean, it was decked out with gold and crystal and glass and tufted chairs, and the ladies could dress up in their really big frilly frou-frou dresses, and the men could dress in their, you know, ties and tails and things like that. And they would serve them 18-course meals. That's 18-course meals. And it was all about an experience. I mean, think about it today. The most courses that will get served at a restaurant is 3, right? Imagine
Yeah.
getting served 18 courses.
That's a lot of food.
That is a lot
Is
of food.
is
That a
that
lot.
where like the fancy like little portions came from?
Absolutely. That's exactly where they
Yeah,
came
and
from.
certain dishes that we eat here in the US and in other parts of the world kind of originated from that as well. Cause like
Right.
I think like with the Great Depression in that time period, like people were running out of food, so they would
Mhm.
try to use what they had left over to try to make a new dish.
You're absolutely correct. That's exactly how all of this kind of what we get as far as the portion sizes that we eat now, or even if you're going to a fine dining restaurant, as Megan was like, oh, is that why the portions are so small? You get more of them, but each plate is much smaller. Or versus a restaurant that you'll go to that isn't fine dining, maybe your casual dining restaurant, and you have like, oh my goodness, this is too much food. I probably can share this with my friend, or I can eat half of it now and take the rest of it home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all of that has influenced the world in which we live as far as food service and the restaurant industry. We're going to pass that break time because we already had that, and we'll just keep pressing forward. So in the industry, as you can see, it's all about relationship. It's all about experience. It's all about customer service. And to have a career in this industry, you can approach it 2 ways. You can come in entry level, or you can come in management. However, entry level is just that. It doesn't require that you have any experience whatsoever. In most cases in our industry, that's going to be your host or your hostess, your bussers, your line cooks in some instances, not necessarily like a sous chef or anything like that. But you might be working on fries at McDonald's, or you might be, you know, on burgers or salad or something like that at a salad shop. The server, the expediter, the dishwasher, all of those are entry-level positions. So you can just go into a place and say, hey, you know, I'm interested in working for you. I was wondering if I could, you know, apply for your server position. They're not going to necessarily require you have a whole lot of experience in order to attain that job. Now, if you're looking for something on the management level, because the risks are more involved, then that position is going to require that you have some type of skills training and some type of maybe even background, some career college or university training. They might even require that you have a business degree, accounting degree or something like that. It just depends on what area in the restaurant industry that you're interested in working in as far as the credentials that they will require you to have. But management can be in the front of the house or in the back of the house. So in my abbreviations here, you see FOH or BOH. That basically means front of the house service or back of the house service. When we talk about front of the house service, that is everything that's associated with the guest. So all those people who will touch the guests. When the first person that you probably interacted with when we talked earlier about your dining service, you were greeted by a host. They are the front line person. They are the person that really sets the tone for the guest experience for the remainder of their stay. Beyond the host, then comes the server. So the server is all the more important because they're the person that is really going to guide you through taking your order, placing your order, making sure that your order is correct and that type of thing, even until you satisfy your check. Occasionally, you will experience a busser as far as someone who comes and cleans your table. Sometimes it's the server who will remove dirty plates and things like that. But don't think that the busser won't ever interact with the guests, because occasionally they will. But from the very beginning to the end, those are the three primary people that you will probably interact with as far as your experience. When we talk about back of the house is in the kitchen, if you will. They don't have a lot of guest experience. Occasionally now, chefs have become acquainted with the guests by coming from the back of the house and actually, as we call it, touching tables, coming to the table, ensuring that the guest is satisfied with their meal, that their experience is going great, and that type of thing. You probably even seen in some restaurants that when you sit down at your table in the dining room, you can look back toward the kitchen area and you can see the kitchen staff working. We call that an exhibition kitchen, basically meaning that the kitchen is on exhibit. So the intent is so that you can actually interact. It's just another experience for the guests to be able to see who is actually cooking their food and how they're preparing it and different things like that. So that's back of the house. Those are your cooks, those are your dishwashers, your sous chefs, your executive chefs even. Sometimes you'll have pastry chefs in the back of the house. Sometimes you have bakers as far as bread. If a restaurant makes their own bread each and every day and on staff, so you'll have those people working in the back. Another level of management to the food service and restaurant industry are the executives. These are the people who are actually not necessarily in the restaurant, but they are a part of the restaurant. They just manage things on the outside of the restaurant. So you might find an area manager, a regional manager, a district manager. It even goes all the way up to CEOs, or branching out, working with equipment for the restaurant as well. So entry-level positions as well as management positions are available in this industry. There are roles within our industry in the pathway of being an entrepreneur or a chef. I know a lot of students that I talk to, when they're in this, in my classes, they always say, oh, I want to own my own business. Or they'll say, I want to be a chef and eventually own my own business, right? As an entrepreneur, it's very important, especially what I'm hearing nowadays is a lot of students, what they do is they like, yeah, I want to own my own business. And I don't necessarily want to run it. I just want to own the business. Well, as an entrepreneur, it takes a lot for you to start a business. And there's a lot that you have to put into running your business, simply because there is a financial risk that each entrepreneur has to take. It takes money in order to make money, in a nutshell. Okay. So these entrepreneurs, they're actually looking to start up a concept so that they can provide this service to people that they might feel that there's a need. Shania, like you said earlier, you know, out of desperation, out of the need of needing to have food, we've probably created certain dishes, right? And one of the examples that we could use is McDonald's, right? Out of the need of people always on the go for convenience, they created this drive-through so that people could get their food on the go. So these entrepreneurs, they're innovative in that way, they're creative in that way, but they're also understanding that if the business doesn't make it, it actually really falls back on me. So it's a huge, huge, huge risk for people to become entrepreneurs. As chefs, the risk is there just as well, because the end product, some people don't do well with rejection, right? And a lot of times all of your dishes aren't going to be the greatest dish, right? And so you have to be able to work through that. But their passion comes from their dedication to quality food, and they have a respect for the food. And their fulfillment comes from the fact of producing this food for other people, and bringing smiles to people's faces. And that's what they love to do, and they do it consistently. So in our food service and restaurant industry, we are probably the second largest employer in the world, simply because we make up 90% of the world's economy. Basically, what I'm saying is we employ so many people that we make enough money to sustain the world. Okay, 90%, you guys, that is a lot. That's a huge number. 63% of adults who work in the industry started out as industry entry level, at an entry level position. Over 14 million people are employed right now, and that number is only going to increase. We're looking to have at least 15.7 million people by the end of this year. Now, that's a huge, huge jump considering COVID and that type of thing, but the industry is very aggressive. 90% of restaurant managers, supervisors, and chefs all started at the ground level. And because of their passion and their love for what they do, and being service-minded, they've stuck with it, and just have grown to management positions, or entrepreneurs, or district employees, executives, and things like that. Let's see, what else did I want to share about the statistics here? Oh, over $782 billion we produce in sales every year. And you have to think about it, from all the fast food places, all your regular dine-in places, your casual dining places like your Panera Breads, your fine dining places, your cruise ships, your airlines, all of those places, the stadiums, the kiosks, the concession stands, all of those combined, we produce about $782 billion in sales each year. What I want you to do real quick is, if you can take this link right here, and you can probably do this in any other time, but I want you to use this link here and find your state and see what your state is producing as producing and contributing to the industry. Because as a state of Texas, those were the numbers that I provided for you. There are numbers for New Jersey, there are numbers for New York, there are numbers for Florida, all across the world. So from the National Restaurant Association, this link is there, and I want you to just see how your state is contributing to the overall number, or to the bottom line. All right, once you find it, if you'll share out with me what number you have, and how many people your state employs, and maybe how many dollars, $1 billion or $1 trillion in sales your state produces.
Could you maybe copy and paste the link and
Oh,
put
in
it
the
chat?
yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let me find the chat.
I got you, Chef.
Okay, you need it up again?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So as Chef Blossom Game is doing that, one thing that I'd also like to share with my students is that there are jobs outside of the restaurant. So when we go beyond the four walls of being a host and a server or dishwasher or even a chef in general, there are more jobs that fall in the food service and restaurant industry. If your personality is that you like to take pictures and you love fashion, there are food critics and stylists and photographers, and they make very, very good money. If you're into research and you like to dig and find information on different things and you like the history of things, there's culinary research and development. If you're interested in nutrition and dietetics, we have that as an avenue for you as well. If you're interested in food science, there is molecular gastronomy, which is an up and coming rising area within our food service industry that attracts a lot of students simply because they get to put science to food, or food to science, if you will. There are different types of positions as far as facilities and engineering. If you're into constructing things and doing things with your hands, but more so on the back of the scenes, then facility and engineering is a great one. Maybe you like decorating. You like setting the table. You like making different types of tablescapes, or event management and maybe marketing and sales. If you're into drawing, maybe you like to draw. Maybe you like graphic design. Maybe you like reaching people and encouraging them or persuading them to buy certain products. That's your marketing and sales piece right there. Maybe you don't want to be out front. Maybe it's just a mere fact that you like to cook and you don't want to cook in front of people. You just want to write a book about it. Well, you have cookbook authors, you have food critics that actually write about it, vlog about it. That's really big on social media right now. You have a lot of people going around trying different restaurants, and then they'll video themselves and give their rating on the food. Or sometimes they'll create a blog online and they'll talk about the food that they had. They'll create the recipe for it. They'll tape a video and show you how to do it that way. And all of these are opportunities for you to be involved in the industry outside of the restaurant. Maybe you're into numbers. And you like the whole bookkeeping part of it. Well, accounting and finance is probably where you would like to go with that. When we talk about what the industry looks for in candidates who are interested in coming into our industry, we look for the AAA. Your professional attire, your positive attitude, and your positive actions. But like I said, very early on, this doesn't just apply to the food service and restaurant industry. This is across the board. If you are looking to be employed, then these are 3 great ways that you can start to formulate yourself and make yourself presentable for any profession. So the top 10 skills that I like to say are necessary to be successful, and I think you guys talked about this a little bit with Chef Rob, and that's soft skills. Soft skills are huge, huge, huge. Being able to communicate and work within a team. You cannot say that you want to be an entrepreneur, you only want to work by yourself, because you're always going to have to interact with other people, regardless of where you go. Got to be able to communicate effectively, have that be orally or written. You have to have a willingness to learn. Always challenge yourself to learn something new each and every day. Have a foundation of technology skills. You guys got that under the bag. That's your generation right now. You guys know how to work all types of technology, and that could play to an advantage for you when you're considering yourself to be marketable. Want to have those basic foundations of math, making sure you know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Yes, you will always use it. in life. It doesn't go away. Being able to analyze and problem solve is probably one of the things that I see many students struggle with, being able to work through problems. Critical thinking, being able to, okay, if this situation happened, how am I going to address the problem, immediately fix the problem, and then keep the problem from happening again? That is something that you have to learn to do. It doesn't come innately to us, but employees are looking for people who can do that. Another thing is you always want to make sure that you stay sharpening your skills. If you're interested in working inside the kitchen, knife skills, equipment skills are important. Knife skills are good for bakers as well as culinarians, like the savory side. So don't think just because if you want to be a baker that you don't have to work on your knife skills, because that's not true. You want to have some type of food safety knowledge. Employees are looking for people to have an understanding of what is necessary in order to keep food safe, because if we keep food safe, we can keep our people safe, and that definitely keeps them coming back. No one wants to get sick at eating at a restaurant. Product knowledge is huge as well, because the more you know about a product, a good, a service, the more power you have in order to win your guests over, to win over your competitors, and so forth. Be self-motivated. That is so big. Make sure that you can keep yourself going, that you don't have to always have someone to keep nudging you along to encourage you to do what is already expected of you. That also includes taking the initiative, right? Not always having your boss to tell you what to do, right? Self-initiative and self-motivation are key when it comes to employers looking for employees. And lastly, time management. Make sure that you're effectively using your time efficiently as well, because one thing that will get you fired quicker than anything is if you are robbing a boss of his time. Okay, so do you all have any questions as it relates to those top 10 things that I just shared with you? And a lot of it comes naturally because you probably already doing much of it anyway. But there are just usually a few that I see students often struggle with, and it's time management, the ability to problem solve, and effectively communicating. Those are like my big three. But like I said, sometimes it comes with you learning that to do that effectively and correctly. And then once you get it, the onus is back on you as making sure that you're holding yourself accountable to continue to move forward. So how can you start your career? You can do a job search. Then after your job search, you want to make sure that you complete an application. Those are done online, some are on paper, but most of those are performed online. Once you complete your application, you want to solidify a job interview and putting forth your best foot forward in order to make that best first impression with your possible employer. And once you've had that interview, you want to follow up. Thank them for their time and see if you can secure a second interview or answer any additional questions that the employer might have. Now, one thing about a job interview, I want you all to understand is it's not just one-sided. It's not just the opportunity for the employer to ask you questions, but it's an opportunity for you to ask the employer questions as well. Do your research on the company, the position, as well as the pay, because when it comes to the interview and the employer begin to ask you questions, it asks, do you have any questions? That's a great opportunity for you to ask those questions as opposed to not ask those questions. They're looking to see if you're going to be a good fit for their corporation or their business, and you're asking them questions to see if they're going to be a great fit for you as an employer. Okay. If you're interested in pursuing college or going to trade school, this is just some things that you probably want to keep a lookout for as far as the program. What does the school offer? Where is the school? Is that within driving, or is it in state? If it's out of state, is it going to cost you more money to go to school? Are there any financial aid opportunities, any work study programs in order for you to lessen the load financially? That burden can be a bit much for students who are going to school. Are there scholarships available? How can you participate in getting those scholarships? Do they require a certain GPA? Is there an exam that you have to take before you can start classes? Are there any additional fees as far as application fees and stuff like that? And then lastly, what types of classes do they offer? Do they offer evening classes, correspondence classes, classes online? All of these things are good. Now, the reason why I put the college piece on there is some employers will do tuition reimbursement if you are going to school with a career path that it lines up with the company that you work with. So, and then some jobs, depending on what it is, some career paths that you are interested in may require that you have college or some type of licensure certificate or something of that nature in order to pursue that career. All right. Well, ladies, that's all that I have. I hope I didn't run through that too fast. So we're like, oh my goodness, there was a lot of information. Do you all have any questions for me at this time, or anything that I could clarify for you?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Shania, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. So I hope you all are able to take away some things that you could either jot down and use in the future, or maybe that sparks some interest about what we do in the food service and restaurant industry and how you can be involved. Even if you're not involved as far as a contributor per se to the food service and restaurant industry, I like to say that regardless of what career path you take, had it be in this industry, had it be health science, had it be IT, they all work together. It's just a collaborative effort, and we all work together in many ways in order to serve. And at the end of the day, just be servant minded in order to give back. Walk through life with your palms down versus your palms up. All right. All right, Chef B, back at you.
Outstanding. Thank you,
Thank
Chef
you.
Baker. Thank you, Chef Baker. And if you don't understand
You're
palms
welcome.
down and palms up, another way we say it, give them a hand. Don't give me a handout. Give me a hand up. All right. So if you didn't quite understand what palms down and palms up mean, all right. So thank you guys so much. If you look down in the chat, there should be the course evaluation for this particular one. For Chef Baker, you guys did a phenomenal job. I want you to enjoy your 4th of July. Chef Baker, once again, I thank you so much for being available, taking the time out of your vacation summer as a teacher to continue to teach for SOAR. And I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart always. And so, ladies, once y'all take that quiz, you will be free to go. Shania, you get ready. We're heading out of the country here in a couple of days, so I hope you are prepared and ready. So definitely excited for what is happening. We are going to Barbados in 3 days, 2 days, July 7th. Or actually, what is that? 5 days. July 7th, we'll be flying out to Barbados for the internship with the youth. Definitely excited about that. Shania was part of the business and entrepreneurship cohort that we had in the fall and the spring, so she qualified for the summer one. Because most of this time, the summer youth don't get a chance to go to the summer one because they're in class. They qualify for the next one. And so she's going to get an opportunity to go have fun. It's our biggest group yet. We got to take 15 youth this year. Last year we took 9. This year we're going to take 15, and we're doing another one that's coming up in the wintertime once we solidify all the details to go to Costa Rica. So, and we're hoping to take even more students, Lord willing. Lord continue to lay on people's heart to bless us with these donations and things of that nature. We'll take as many kids as financially possible. Definitely excited.
I have a question.
Yes.
What are the qualifications to go to Costa Rica?
Now, one of the qualifications is you have to be a high school student between the grades of 9 and 12. So that's one of the qualifications for the scholar, Megan. And I know now we do have the opportunity when we have our chaperones. The chaperones is go. And so the chaperones aren't paid through the organization. They have to raise money just like the youth do. So what we do is, as Shania will tell you, is we raise money for each one of the youths and chaperones to go, right? Because what we want to do is not have you pay it out of pocket. We want you to actually have some skin in the game. We actually want you to feel, if it's that important to you, you'll ask the amount of people that you need for whatever the dollar amount it is to go on the trip. So Megan, you have been in the class, and you, like I said, you're a special case because normally I don't have college students in here, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you were referred, your brother is in the class. And so I was like, you know what? If she wants the information, I can let her have the information. She just doesn't qualify for a lot of the things that the high school kids get, right? Because the program, the way the program is set up, it's required for that, right? But that doesn't mean you can't go.
Mm-hmm.
It's just in all honesty, depending on the way that this class ends, and I talk to the board, we'll know at the end of the class how to govern it, because you're the first college student we allowed to come into the program.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So so you're actually you're not realizing this is recorded so all the board members can see it, not realizing that your input, your takeaway, how you act in all the classes and things like that is going to be a great evaluation for the board members of maybe us expanding it past high school. That could be something way down the line. But right now our biggest focus is high school students because of the background story for Rosie and myself. So, but there's a possibility, first year freshmen be able to do it. We've got some scholars that are going off to college this fall. So, and they'll be coming back to, hopefully teach some of these classes one day. And, but that is the goal. But you are truly a special individual, first time ever college student. And there's only been one other time that we let someone younger, we let an 8th grader that was going to the 9th grade join the program. So those are the only 2 exceptions we've had for that 9 to 12.
Wow.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, you are more than welcome. Like I said, you came recommended and asked, and me and the board talked about it and said, sure, we'd love to have it.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. My aunt is actually, I'm assuming, the person that recommended me. Isabel Chan.
Yes.
Yeah. And then
I was trying to
Sierra,
keep it out of here. Yes, it was Isabel.
And then Sierra is going with you guys to Barbados, right? Sierra
She is.
Brothers. Yeah.
She is.
So I hope you guys have fun.
Yeah. You great company, allows for some leeway in some things. So
Yes, thank you so much again.
Yep. And Shania, I saw your question in the chat. We'll talk offline about that, because we've sent out the emails for everything that is required with the itinerary project. So if you go back through the emails, that there's a list of and Miss Rosie also put it inside the Google Classroom from her class.
I mean, I did check it, but I didn't see it, so I wasn't sure where in the Google Classroom it was.
You know what? I will go back into her class, because it should have been labeled travel and tourism in that particular folder. And if you didn't see it in there, I'll go back and double check here once we get offline and make sure I get it to you ASAP. Because you and I have to talk, because your final, you're going to be in Barbados. So we're going to talk about when you're going to take your final, if you may be able to take your final while we're there in Barbados, depending on the schedule, which would
Yeah.
be pretty awesome.
Mhm.
Because I'm working on being able to do a cooking demo.
Yeah, I just
during
got
class.
started working on it today, so
Good. Get ahead then. Get ahead.
Yeah.
And that's it. Any other questions? Great questions, y'all. Well, Chef Baker, thank you once again. I appreciate you. And did everybody answer in the class
Yeah.
survey?
Yep, I did the evaluation. Yes.
Outstanding. All right. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank
Y'all have
you.
a
Enjoy
great
your
one.
evening. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.